There are hundreds, if not thousands, of types of tools that are available to us. But how do we know what tools are right for our dog? How do we know which tool to use in any given situation? And how are these tools properly used? In this chapter, I will cover the basic tools that are commonly used to train a dog. I will show you how to properly use these tools for maximum effectiveness and safety. Keep an open mind while viewing this chapter. Many of the tools I have covered here have gotten a bad name, not by those who use them properly and with common sense, but by the uninformed and uneducated who use these tools in a sometimes harmful manner. The chain collar is also known as the check chain or choke chain. This collar, when properly used, is a mainstay of training. It allows the handler to deliver soft checks or pops as a deterrent or a correction. The chain is made of small rounded links. Both ends of the collar have an O-ring of the same size. The collar should be made of stainless steel. Any welds should be solid. The links in the chain should be rounded or chiseled, so that when the links are pulled through the O-ring, it slides in a fluid motion. You may have seen similar collars with long inner links. These are called fur savers. These collars will not work for training. Use the collars with small chiseled or rounded links. When placing the collar on your dog, the small links are run through the O-ring until both O-rings meet. The collar is then slipped over your dog's head, under the chin first and then over the forehead. The chain should sit high on the dog's neck and not around his shoulders. When the chain is pulled snug, there should be about 3 inches of spare leeway in the collar. Collars come in various sizes. You should buy a collar that fits your dog to reduce the possibility that the collar either falls off your dog or is too tight to be comfortable. Why the dual name? As mentioned, this collar has a couple of different names: check chain and choke chain. The chain collar, when improperly used, can choke your dog. It can make giving soft pops impossible, as the collar is always tight around your dog's neck. In fact, the dual name comes about due to uneducated use. Put on the dog the wrong way or used outside of training, it can harm your dog. Let's see how this collar works in its proper placement and setting. I always recommend that you connect your leash and collar together before putting them on your dog. But for the sake of clarity, I will show you the collar placed on the dog correctly and incorrectly. When your dog is in the heel position and the collar has been put correctly on your dog, you will see that the collar drops loose on the dog's neck. There is no tension in the collar. After a small amount of tension is put in the leash or a soft pop or correction is made, the collar falls back into its normal loose position. This would be a check chain. If the collar is misplaced on the dog, or the handler is not at the heel position, when tension is put on the collar, it does not fall back loosely. It stays tight around the dog's neck. The collar is always snug around the dog's neck. This is a choke chain. Here's the difference. Imagine the clip at the leash being the start and the last O-ring being the end. When the leash comes down, it joins with the collar, runs over the back of the dog's neck and then under, ending at the last O-ring. When you're at the heel position, the first O-ring provides a wide hole for the chain to drop into a loose position. Done incorrectly now, for demonstration purposes, the top of the leash is at the loop. The leash comes down and joins with the collar, but this time the collar goes under the dog's neck and then over the shoulder and joins with the last O-ring. When the leash is tugged, you will see that the O-ring is now at the bottom. The collar cannot drop through the O-ring as it is tight around the dog's shoulder. Take a moment to try this exercise yourself. Take the collar with your right hand. Hold your left hand out and make a fist. This is our demonstration dog for the purpose of testing our knowledge on proper collar placement. We are using our left hand to represent our dog, as this is the heel position. Now, slip the collar over your fist as if it was your dog's head. Pull on the O-ring that would be connected to the leash. Pull it snug. Now release the tension in the leash. If your collar fell back into a loose position, you place the collar on correctly. If, when you let the tension out of the leash, the collar stayed snug, you place the collar on incorrectly. Remove the collar, flip it around, and replace it over your fist. Try pulling the leash tight again. Now let it loose. The collar will now drop into a loose position.